Viewers, you're watching the Explosive Exclusive with me and Navika Kumar. Just as always, we are going to begin with one massive revelation. You have been watching perhaps excerpts, and we hope you aren't though, but even if you have, watch excerpts of an interview that Rhea Chakraborty has given to a competing television network. You might have noticed that she has come out with some rehearsed but full of contradiction answers. Viewers, today we can tell you that those answers are nothing but pre-scripted PR, all playing to a plan. Navika, you know this because you have yet again seen some WhatsApp messages. Talk us over this new revelation.
Well, I just want to tell our viewers tonight that getting an interview and doing a PR interview is frankly not part of a challenge that we hear on Times Now accept. Yes, some people will say, oh, they are bad losers. But there is a lobby out there, ladies and gentlemen, who are seeing this as if channels are in competition. There's no competitions. It is actually about getting to the truth. And one se zyada, jitne zyada ho utne achhe, because this race to find out the truth is what journalism is all about. And if this battle hadn't started 73 days ago, we wouldn't have, at least in the courts and outside, seen action that we have seen now. It is the people's questions, it is the strength of the investigations that we independently have done that have raised these questions. And I want to tell our viewers tonight that facts are very different from comfortable interviews that are done for PR. We are not in the business of PR, we are in the business of hard news and truth. And what I will reveal to you tonight is going to make many people think again about whether they want to hear Riya's PR side of the story or they want to hear the real truth. So ladies and gentlemen, I've been going through the files of this entire investigation. Yesterday, I brought to you 24 pages of WhatsApp chats. The day before, I brought you another 8 WhatsApp chats where the story of drugs really began from. And yes, it was the Times Now investigation through these WhatsApp chats that proved that Riya allegedly was drugging Sushant Singh Rajput, a fact that has been put out by the father of Sushant Singh Rajput this morning, and facts through the chats which give away the entire conspiracy. Tonight I want to tell you that Riya was in touch with several big directors. Yes, she was in touch with Mahesh Bhatt, and that's something that everybody is known. Mahesh Bhatt's family has even come out and tried to defend Mahesh Bhatt. Tonight I'll give you the name of yet another director. A director who was on a WhatsApp chat with Rhea Chakraborty. And Rhea Chakraborty was very worried about the adverse publicity that she was getting in the aftermath of Sushant Singh Rajput's so-called suicide. A suicide that India is not for the moment willing to believe. And who was this director who was wanting to help Riya to actually fight all of this adverse publicity through PR? Anurag Kashyap, a well-known Modi baiter, and even this has now become Modi versus the rest kind of a fight. Because the Bihar government, because the Bihar police filed an FIR, it's become an exercise of somehow or the other bringing politics into it.
Brinkmanship, one-upmanship.
Absolutely. And Anurag Kashyap, Riya asks him in the chat, I don't have a copy of it. I normally bring you hard facts, but I've seen this. I've seen this, and I can tell you very clearly that Anurag Kashyap is somebody Riya seeks help from. She asks him I'm getting adverse publicity. I am being portrayed as this, negative woman in Sushant Singh Rajput's life. I need to know how to fight these allegations and this bad publicity that I'm getting. She was not worried about Sushant Singh Rajput. She was worried about the bad publicity and her own image. And you know what Anurag Kashyap says to her? He responds to her and says, well, you can get in touch with a few friendly journalists. Friendly journalists is what he says.
So then, Navika, and you've tweeted today, this is following a script because you got a call from certain individuals hoping that you would be that friendly journalist. Why don't you just tell our viewers a little bit about it? Because, it's so clear now what's happening. And it's not just A journalist or B journalist. There's a whole plethora of journalists who Riya was asked to contact because those journalists would give her a platform, a hearing, even a sympathetic ear. Just talk us through first your conversation.
Well, first, I have seen this chat many days ago, and I didn't want to get into it because it's not in the realm of my duty to criticize other journalists. We all need to do our jobs and not pass verdicts on each other. And that's the way I look at our own community of journalists. We need to keep our focus on the stories that we do and on the duty that we have towards people of India, towards the public. I was told last week, in fact, beginning of last week, that I should just take a relook at the kind of stand that I'm taking on this entire story. Well, people were trying to judge which side I would go, so they said, why don't you be more fair to Riya in the coverage that we are doing, because after all, a Riya interview would also get a lot of viewership, and why do I want to miss out on that interview?
But fair was actually a loaded word.
Very loaded word.
Means that you
there was hemming and hawing on the word, and then I was said, they were thinking whether to say this to Navika or not. Will she just pounce on us and kill us even before we can complete the sentence?
Because this was a phone. The viewers. Let's not keep anything from our viewers today, because there is a lot of outrage across the country. I'll tell you, if I just open the call-in lines, I don't know if you've heard some of our viewers. They are upset that an accused number one, days away from arrest, linked to chats that are linking her to dealing in drugs, accused by the father and the family of poisoning. Financial swindling, poisoning SSR is today. I think this is quite unprecedented territory we're in. Look, we're not against any network. You can put Charles Sobraj if you want on air. You can put the greatest terrorist if you want on air. And it's been done. These same, individuals who today reach out in the interest of, justice, etc., fair play. They have put separatists and they have hobnobbed with them, put them on air, given them a soft platform. No problems. You do it. That's your problem. That's your lookout, Navika. But the fact is, today there is being an attempt to completely derail the entire, how should one put it? This outpouring of support for Sushant Singh Rajput. That is what bothers.
Rahul, I'm not someone who believes that we sitting here in studios should be doing the judgment. We are not a court of law.
Exactly.
All we are doing at this point is, this is an unprecedented case. Injustice seemed to have been done on day one when it was declared a suicide without looking at the other angles. That's all there is to the beginning of this story. Yes, Sushant Singh Rajput was famous. Yes, the fact that he came from a small town, the fact that he was, somebody who was a bright mind studying engineering, the fact that he came to Bollywood, made a a reasonable success of his career out here, and then something happens, and then he's, from this bright, brilliant young man, he suddenly becomes a manic depression patient, and then ends his life. That was the story that was being given to us. Now, that story was questioned first by the family, and that's when we began to look into the affairs that really preceded this death of Sushant Singh Rajput. And we wondered if there was more to this story which, seemed at the surface. That's all it was in the beginning. And the more we dug, the more we went deeper into this story. And I have no problems in saying, I've been accused that, oh, you're not looking at the economy, you're not looking at this. Yes, all of that is happening, but there is this whole feeling in India that if you're not part of the big and powerful, this could happen to you. This is the injustice. Is it the only story in the country? No, it's not. But why has it taken us completely in its fold is because India feels it's being cheated. And when we are being cheated, we need to find out the truth. And it is the pursuit of the truth that has led me to read these files. I have gone through these files, I have accessed, and I have put out those evidences before you. One of the chats was post Sushant Singh Rajput's death with Anurag Kashyap, where friendly journalist numbers have been exchanged. I'm not going into them simply because I don't want to name anybody. It's not my job to do so. The fact of the matter is also that I get a call. And I'm told, you know what, try and be, try and be a little fair. You think I didn't understand what the meaning was?
We were not being unfair. We were just doing our job. We were putting out stuff.
Putting out stuff not based on rhetoric. We were not putting out stuff based on rhetoric. We were not putting out stuff based on hearsay. We were putting out real stuff based on hard evidence.
I mean, we didn't hug any of our viewers by saying that the first confession is an acceptance and admission of murder. We don't go down that route. What we cannot prove on paper doesn't go on Times Now, viewers. We have stuck to the script. We have brought out information, but today there is a need, Navika, to expose this entire conspiracy, and it has begun. This whole exercise of contacting these friendly journalists began right after, let's be honest, the death of Sushant Singh Rajput. You've seen the WhatsApp.
To tackle
so then
bad publicity for Rhea Chakraborty.
Anurag Kashyap gave her the numbers which you have seen of certain journalists to say, get in touch with them, try them out, because they belong to a certain bloc. They'll help you because they are not attached to a particular party. On one particular side of the fence, they might have their links on the other side of the fence, so they'll be very, very sympathetic because this is going to all assume a larger sort of political...
Rahul, let's say it as it is. Why beat around the bush? The Twitterati divides the world into different classifications. There are the liberals, and then there are the right-wingers. Then there are the Modi Bhakts, and the others are, the supporters and the upholders of democracy as they claim themselves to be. Those are the kind of divisions. Am I a Bhakt? Am I a right-winger? I don't know. I don't know what I am because I don't fit into one definition, into one box. You can't put my personality, my thoughts into one box. On different things, I think differently. But that's not a classification that suits.
So these friendly journalists get into the act. Now, so these friendly, and they're not even liberals. We all are liberal. We all believe in democracy.
Lobbyists.
We all believe in human rights. We all believe in justice. And that's why we are here, viewers, trying to put out the truth. Now, remember, viewers, this is a story in which none of these people, and I'm now getting a little angry, none of these people spoke up when for 72 days till date, the Mumbai police hasn't filed an FIR. Isn't that blocking justice and suppressing the need for fair play? And evidence was desecrated. No one asked those questions. None of these people asked those questions when several of their own circle came out and said Sushant Singh Rajput was a gone case, failed actor, waiting to jump off a building. I wish he had come to us. None of them asked those questions.
No, and they said...
They had no concern for fair play at that time.
No, and Rahul,
Zero.
You know what they said? They said Sushant Singh Rajput is not such a big star to get so much airtime on so many channels fighting for justice. I want to ask, is Rhea Chakraborty a bigger star to get a 2-hour interview?
Well, look, now you have a situation where, and viewers just put 2 and 2 together. You have an interview that is riddled with contradiction. We'll show you those contradictions in just about 5 or 6 seconds. They all go unchallenged on that particular interview. Anurag Kashyap comes up and says to sway the small but influential Rajput community in Bihar for the elections, and how Maharashtra did not do justice to a son of Bihar, making it political. By doing so, he's polarizing a certain set of individuals who do not like the BJP and Modi. And some of these individuals, their tweets are on your screens. Nikhil Vagle, Bainjal, all these characters, we all know who they are. They take a position, and all of these Anurag Kashyap retweets. He's picking up Joy Bhattacharya. He's picking
and
up
they say
others.
this is the brave piece. AK talkies, given the noisy narrative being spun by trolls, anchors, and biased media in general. Well, we are biased. Our neighbors are very good.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Navika, all of this, of course, fits the play so well. And now you have, of course, just today, and I want to take you down. B-Town lobby jumps to Riya's rescue. Swara Bhaskar, wrong how this case has been reported. Stop media trials. I wish Swara Bhaskar had said that when certain individuals were trying to, ex-chief justices of this country, when certain justices came out into the lawns of the Supreme Court, and these individuals went out there. I wish these people had thought about media trials when, spurred on by the media, one top politician went out and said, Chaukidar chor hai, and tried another politician, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in the court of public opinion. No problems then. They fed that narrative. No media trial at that time. I wish they'd remembered it when for 14 years they hounded 2 politicians from Gujarat, labeled them mass murderers. Maut ke Saudagar was the name, if I'm not mistaken, Navika.
Absolutely.
Maut ke Saudagar.
2007.
So, just think about it, viewers. I just want to open this up. This is getting big. Navika has revealed a name. This is part of a narrative. All of these are efforts that are being pushed. There's breaking news coming in. Nikunj Garg is breaking a big story. He's spoken to his sources in the CBI. Let's put it out. Inside scoop from the CBI probe. Nikunj, what can you tell us? Big news breaking here.
Well, Rahul, there are certain fundamental surmises that the special investigation team of the CBI has by now drawn. A part of that team, the junior part of that team, is in Bombay, is in Mumbai for quite some time now. The senior set of officials who are regularly in touch with their officials are in Delhi. And for a number of days, there have been regular exchanges about the Central Bureau of Investigations. Now, few things that would, immediately draw attention of our viewers is that the Central Bureau of Investigation certainly believes that at least some of the people it has interrogated so far, it has interrogated at least half a dozen people of the close circle of Mr. Sushant Singh Rajput. At least some of them are not fully forthcoming. That means they are either hiding the truth or they are outrightly lying. That is point number 1. Which means that they need to be confronted with more technical evidence that the Central Bureau of Investigation has been able to garner and is in the process of garnering. Some of that evidence has also come from Mumbai Police's inquest, but of course, because it is not in the shape of a first information report and a formal inquiry, that material collected by the Mumbai Police has to be further bolstered by the probe of the CBI. More crucially, there is technical evidence now available with the Central Bureau of Investigation alongside the testimonials which it is planning to confront Ms. Rhea Chakraborty with, and that is why they have now concluded that Rhea Chakraborty would be the last of the suspects to be questioned in this entire chain of events. Her family members, at least her brother, has been summoned on at least 2 occasions. He has not yet been formally questioned, but there are instances on which the Central Bureau of Investigation has asked certain questions to him, coming out of the questioning of other individuals who have given that testimonials to CBI. None of the individual suspects questioning is still over. So which means that whether it is Sandeep Singh or Mr. Pithani or Rajat Moewati, none of them is still out of dock right now. There is a sequence of events that the CBI team has been able to draw right from the time when the first information about Mr. Rajput's dead body started to pour out, and to the time the post-mortem took place and the family came to the city and then finally funeral happened. There are some glaring inconsistencies in the individuals who have been describing their positions at particular point in the entire investigation. That needs further corroboration. So quite clearly, the version that has been given so far to the CBI by the close circle of people of Mr. Sushant Singh Rajput is not satisfactory, and it needs further digging.
All right, those are visuals coming from the Enforcement Directorate on the left side of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Now on the right side of your screen, Riya's father was taken to Axis Bank by ED officials, where lockers of the Chakraborty family were searched. That's the information we had. Kajal joining us from Mumbai. Kajal, Indrajit Chakraborty has just left the Axis Bank. Have the locker searches come to an end? Anything that the ED officials said on record when they came out?
Ma'am, these are visuals of a CBI official who had come to the ED office. He was there at the ED office for around half an hour, and he just left. We do not yet know as to what exactly was the discussion there, but we believe that given the fact that Indrajit Chakraborty's bank lockers are being searched, they wanted to perhaps tally it with whatever the ED has already found about the bank records. Remember, the ED had actually taken the bank records of the entire family, Riya, Indrajit and Shavik, and also perhaps of Riya's mother, Sandhya Chakraborty. All of those accounts were taken last time when they had interrogated the family here. And today, Indrajit Chakraborty is being grilled by the CBI for his financial transactions. So the ED and the CBI exchanging notes right now. For half an hour, the CBI official was inside the ED office. He has just left.
Well, so CBI, ED doing a joint investigation at this moment. Riya's father still at the Axis Bank, lockers being searched. Riya's brother Shavik is at the CBI DRDO guest house, and he's being questioned. We have two callers calling in. Ali Khan joining from Bengaluru and Girish from Raipur. Ali Khan, good evening. What do you think? Isn't this PR for Rhea Chakraborty that is being done to give her a platform, or do you think this is justified?
No, yeah. Good evening, Navika. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir, of course.
Yeah, sure. They are all hardened criminals who are trying to support Riya now, whoever they are. Without the custodial interrogation of all these people, nothing will come out, ma'am, because tomorrow, even if CBI gets the testimonials without the magistrate's presence, they will back out in the court. They will say, no, we have never said that.
That's a very good point.
Criminal.
Yes.
Hello, and
very good point, Mr. Ali Khan. That's a very good point, and I think we're going to go across. I think there's one more viewer.
Girish joining us from Raipur. Good evening, Girish. What do you think?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all viewers. I would like to say that this particular journalist who has interviewed Rhea should actually introspect, because journalism is the fourth pillar of the society, and the way the interview was done, where the prime suspect is getting highlight, and they should actually investigate the whole narrative of drugs, mafia, everything into Bollywood. They should not spare anybody. Agencies are doing the right thing. They have to get down to the groups. Now, point is that Rhea should not have been given this kind of limelight. I mean, she is the suspect, prime suspect. She has to be investigated thoroughly, and that is going on. I firmly trust, I believe that agencies will go down and do everything possible to get into a judgment.
Girish, I think you make a very, very comprehensive point there. Of course, that is a view that the journalists will have to consider on their own. We no one to advise them. But let's go across to
Mukesh from Bengaluru.
Mukesh from Bengaluru. Mr. Mukesh, go ahead, sir. Good evening.
Sir, this is Mukesh from Bengaluru, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, this Riya, she will try to do whatever is possible to hide her crime, whatever she has done it.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is actually happening? These people are there, like Anurag Kashyap, Rajdeep Sardesai, and these 2-3 channels are there which are just hiding her. In any case, they are hiding her, and they have been known for these activities.
Well,
and this is the reason. And
well, sir, the points that you're making, of course, you're making as a viewer and as a non-partisan individual, and you're making it, of course, on the basis of what your perceptions are, and the viewers of course, Times Now have complete free rein over their perceptions, and they must come out and speak, because today we have a situation where for 73 days, Sushant Singh Rajput's case was being brushed aside, passed off as a suicide. Many people had said that he was mentally
Absolutely.
off balance, that he was not capable, he was not getting any
films. And the WhatsApp chats actually show how she was giving, drops of some drug to
we don't even know
Sushant Singh Rajput. Let me get in Vivek Agnihotri, who's going to be joining us.
There are also contradictions coming up.
Yeah, and there are contradictions in Riya's theory. As she says in her interview, the PR that she wanted Anurag Kashyap to advise, but the facts that are revealed in the chats are completely different.
There are excerpts of the interview that have been played out. SSR took modafinil, probably consuming it before. Now, we are being told sources very close to the physician who was known to be consulted by Sushant Singh Rajput has come out and said that this is a false report. Sources close to a doctor tell us that modafinil was never actually even prescribed. In that chat that you had accessed the WhatsApp, there is talk not of modafinil. Let's go back to that chat. It was about giving drops of a certain extract of marijuana, which might be over the table, but over the counter, but certainly was being given to Sushant Singh Rajput. Then you have another contradiction. That's it. SSR took modafinil, probably consuming it. Riya is talking to Jaya Saha. I'm sending across CBD oil.
And she's also asking Jaya Saha whether she should give it only once a day, or whether she should give it more than that. She's also talking about MDMA.
Yes, and who really was drugging Sushant? That's the big question. The second contradiction comes out of that interview. Let's just go to that, Sashi. No, I was not living off SSR's money. We lived like a couple.
And he lived like a king and splurged. Then if he was living like a king and he was under mental depression and he was not in his senses, then why was Miss Rhea Chakraborty opening companies with him
and
in partnership? Why was she taking away his credit cards, debit cards, and asking his accountant Samuel Miranda to change the pins through net banking? Why did she want an account of all the FDs and the mutual fund investments
spending thousands of rupees on drugs and other purchases?
Absolutely. Well, we have another caller calling in, Dinal calling in from Pune. Dinal, do you believe Riya's version, or do you think it is going to come in the way of justice for Sushant?
Okay, we lost that call. Let's very quickly look at the other contradictions that are coming through. Would SSR name company after me if he didn't love me? This is very strange, because Riya herself called up Mahesh Bhatt. She also spoke to Jaya Saha, and she was delighted that there was a breakup. And of course, when Sushant Singh Rajput's sisters were coming to visit, she tells her friend, "I'm bouncing out of here, I'm getting out." And the friend says, "It'll be a good breather for you as well."
Yeah, and she says, I hope the sisters don't dash him up. She uses a 4-letter word. And she says, I want to give him some medicines before I leave, so that, so that she disables Sushant Singh Rajput, so that he can't have a connect with his 3 sisters who are visiting them on the 25th of November.
Yeah.
So strains between the family evidence, points about drugging evidence, and of course,
the people who analyze those WhatsApps, and we got a large number of forensic experts as well as doctors calling us who are individuals who understand biochemistry, and they were saying that what she was giving when the sisters were coming was to bring down the effects of the drug. So he would look normal and appear normal to the sisters. There are many of these contradictions, and none of them have been posed to Rhea Chakraborty. So a platform is given. A whole group and cabal of individuals is out there trying to defame Sushant Singh Rajput, his sisters, and most importantly, viewers, suggesting that the media is running an unfair trial in this particular case.
No, and she says Shovik, SSR liked each other so much that, Shovik was called my Sautan. We know. And this is from the account of the family that on 25th of November, when they were there for a couple of days, when they were leaving, Sushant wanted to go with the sisters. And then Shovik goes into his room and takes Sushant Singh Rajput downstairs, where the family and Riya meet Sushant Singh Rajput. They say something to him, after which suddenly he comes back absolutely in a panic attack and says,
that's that.
And says that I don't want to go anywhere, I'm going to stay here. Was she scaring him? Was she blackmailing him? We don't know. But the family says they have that feeling. And when he went and spent 2 days with the family, when he had gone for 2 weeks, she called him 25 times in January 2020 and called him back. She didn't want him
and
out
tell me,
of her eyesight.
If she loved
maybe
him
because
so much,
she wanted to continue giving the drug.
If she loved him so much, why did she cut off all communications, block his
between
calls,
8th and 13th
and
of
then
June?
Call Mahesh Bhatt? And there's Mahesh Bhatt's conversation. You once again unclipped my wings, and Bhatt is very happy. And I'm smiling year to year. I love you, my best man. I will make you proud. Today I feel free. I feel liberated. I feel as if I've been let off from some jail. So I don't understand this. I don't know why all of these conversations were not used to confront Riya. Even if you were thinking of giving a platform or you were doing your
her side of the story, you should have asked her the legitimate questions.
Absolutely.
And let's get in Vivek Agnihotri, film director, joining us this evening. Vivek Agnihotri, she was feeling the heat of a bad publicity spill after Sushant Singh Rajput's demise. She contacts, and this is a WhatsApp chat, where she has with Anurag Kashyap, and she asks him for help on how to deal with it. And he says, I can give you some numbers of friendly journalists, and maybe they can help you. Speak to them. I know them. You can talk to them and they'll help you. And then tweets do go out. What do you make of this, Vivek Agnihotri? And what do you make of the PR stunt interview that Rhea Chakraborty has given without any counter questions of the facts that are already on the table? Well, we are trying to reconnect with him. He's on a Skype connection which is frozen for the moment. But Chandni Shah, what do you make of it?
Navika, frankly speaking, Riya is not such a good actor because she could not act that well when she was giving the interview at other channels. The way she was saying that modafinil was given. Modafinil is actually given for narcolepsy. It is a sleep disorder wherein your whole day is drowsy, and it can also be given out this thing can be caused when drugs have been infused, and more abusive drugs have been given to you, like cocaine or MDMA or LSD. The larger usage of such drugs can cause narcolepsy.
Okay.
So, and the CBD oil that was being talked about, it acts as something which is opposite to THCs. I yesterday read everything about it, so I came to know that CBD is given to control the panic attacks. So she had everything at her hand. Jaya Saha was involved in this. No one actually doesn't even know that she was also the ex-talent manager of Sushant Singh Rajput, and she is also one of the partners in Kwan Talent Management. The talent management company Kwan.
True. Chandni, stay with me. Let me get in Vivek Agnihotri. And Vivek Agnihotri, is it normal for stars to contact directors to ask that they're facing bad publicity because of Sushant Singh Rajput's death in unnatural circumstances, and the media as well as social media, is giving her a tough time. And that's what Riya wrote to Anurag Kashyap. And he told her you could contact some of these friendly journalists. And now she has a platform interview where she's not confronted with the facts. What do you make of this?
Okay, first let me congratulate you and Rahul and thank a lot to both of you. I
Thank you,
generally
sir.
these days
Humble, sir.
don't try decide
Very humble.
today because today we are at a very, very critical point. Rahul, we are at a very critical point. For last 1 decade, big drugs and big criminality, exploitation of young boys and girls had been normalized by some of the powerful, the so-called names you were taking, directors and producers. And today we have been fighting it for last 2-3 months. Kangna right in the forefront, we in the background. I have been doing work on this. And today, this entire PR machinery has put Kangna a face. And the friendly journalist you were talking about, they got the friendly journalist to do this interview. It's basically idea is to whitewash. There are lots of people behind it. I can't go in details here right now, but there were 2-3 things which were planted. Number one, the name of Dr. Harish Shetty. Dr. Harish Shetty, I know him personally. He's a man of highest integrity and some of the best things he has done in the field of psychiatry. I want to know why Riya and the great friendly journalist of this drug mafia of Bollywood has not demanded the psychological autopsy when he knows it very well that journalist Charu's case, the psychological autopsy was done because they want to delay it. More you delay it, psychological autopsy becomes difficult. That proves whether he was depressed or claustrophobia. She's talking about claustrophobia. A is not fear of height. I have flown last year for IFI to Goa with Sushant. He was a great friend of mine. We kept discussing philosophy and quantum physics. Not even once I saw him feeling nervous or anything. In fact, we were cracking jokes and he was full of life. He kept doing that all the time. Now, the thing is, these are very powerful. These links go beyond Bollywood. And that is one of the reasons a lot of people are quiet today and they are using Riya basically as the front face. I am so happy you are doing it. It is now or never. This must be exposed. It's not just Sushant. It's a very big mafia which is going to be exposed, and it's definitely going to benefit a lot of people.
Lot of people. Well, let's quickly go across to Preeti Singh. Preeti Singh and also Tausif Ahmed and Ketan Vaidya. Ketan Vaidya, look at the past we've come to. Before you answer, I want to play out the father's appeal today. Heartbreaking appeal from Sushant Singh Rajput's father, saying that this is a slap in the face of every Indian who believes that Sushant Singh Rajput is being denied justice. Let's play this out.
रिया मेरे बेटे सुशांत को लंबे समय से जहर पिलाया करती थी, वो इसकी हत्यारी है। जांच एजेंसी को चाहिए कि रिया को और उसके सहयोगी को अविलंब गिरफ्तार करें और उसे सजा दिलाएं। रिया मेरे बेटे सुशांत को लंबे समय से जहर पिलाया करती थी, वो इसकी हत्यारी है। जांच एजेंसी को चाहिए कि रिया को और उसके सहयोगी को अविलंब गिरफ्तार करें और उसे सजा दिलाएं।
A broken man appealing for justice can't quite understand why both the state. And let me tell you, today a huge security ring has been thrown around Rhea Chakraborty.
The same police who in February did not respond to the family's warnings that Sushant Singh Rajput's life was in danger, didn't send even a constable to check on him, today sends people to protect Rhea Chakraborty. That's the irony of this entire case. Ketan Vaidya, is it not?
Well, those were really heart-wrenching comments from Sushant's father. Whether to give an interview or not is definitely Riya's choice and the interviewer's choice, so I don't want to go in it. However, will an interview change Riya's culpability in the case? We are tracking this case, just from yesterday. The chats that have been recovered and Navita, the chats where these chats are verified chats. These are not come from some source or anyone. It's agency verified chats, and the culpability and the answering that Rhea has to do, whether she possessed drugs, whether she trafficked drugs, or whether she administered drugs to Sushant allegedly. On all these counts, she has to prove herself innocent. So PR stunt or no PR stunt, interview or no interview, she has a lot of answering to do. On the police security thing, I think it's the police job to assure security.
Job, they forgot their job, sir. They were asking for written complaint.
What about their job in February when somebody's life was in danger? That time it wasn't their job, it's become their job in August?
Absolutely not. However, see, what the Commissioner of Police said is allegedly the brother-in-law had said that they want, if they can take Rhea in illegal custody. That is what the
अरे भाई वो नहीं किया तो कम से कम कांस्टेबल भेज के पता तो कर सकते थे.
You're right. That could have happened, and they have failed on that front.
Well, they failed on that, and that's where the matter should rest, and platform should be given.
Well, of course, contradictions, hypocrisy, everything. We have gone from every emotion in this particular case. We're going to take a short break. Viewers, big disclosure coming up right after. Don't go away.